Good morning, everyone. This is the weekly forecast video for the Quasidb service for the week beginning the 13th of September. I want to bring your attention to this website. It's really, really good. You should definitely bookmark it. And I want to talk about the Euro USD and the dollar yen. And I might even, if time permits, have a look at the Aussie USD because they're doing something quite naughty and they're moving their stops much lower in the hope that they're not going to get stopped out. So I'll tell you about that at the very end of the video. But just for now, I just want to tell you about this and how you can use this for your trading. Your USD, just click on it and you get a nice graphic. And you can see how you can get the buy or sell signal from the crossover in the sentiment. So we had the bulls overtake the bears, and what happens, price inevitably falls because it wants to punish these guys. These guys are holding on to their losses, but they're not only holding to the losses, but they're adding to that bias. So they're going to get punished, and they're already in the process of getting punished. And we know the monthly pivot's at 117.90. And if you look at price now, it's at 117.90. So we're basically just sitting on monthly pivot. Sentimentally, we should fall because of this logic, okay? And it's just incredibly cruel. And that's just Forex for you. But if you've got visibility of the sentiment, you won't be caught on the wrong side. And that's important. So that's Euro USD. I'm going to show you dollar yen because that's our current setup signal. And dollar yen, and you can see how we had the crossover here. Admittedly, we did, there was a lot of indecision, but eventually it gave way, and the retail bears really came into play, and they sort of woke up, and they decided to sell it. And I wasn't really sure why they sold it here. You'd have to look at your charts. Something on September the 10th in the morning, for some reason they really sold it, and so price goes up. Admittedly a little bit sideways, but it's going up gradually. And so that's the key level. That's the level of interest that I'm looking at. That's going to be so important for USD. And I'll talk about the Dixie as well because we've got an ascending pitchfork on the Dixie hourly chart. So I'll tell you about that. And so that's UJ, and you've got the TP and the SL on the spreadsheet now, and it's on Telegram anyway. And we've got a little bit of way to target, but there isn't any harm just moving your stop ahead of entry in case we have this horrendous puke and it just falls for God knows whatever reason. You're at least out our profit, but we should get to target. Okay, so this is a reminder just to go to this website. It is amazing. You don't need to sign up or sign in or anything. You might want to sign in if you're using the plugins for MetaTrader 4. But it's just a great website. It's really, really good. So that's that. I'll maybe just quickly talk about the bubbles actually, because it's like a plug for the service that I'm promoting. It says the dollar that's strong and the euro that's weak. All right. And it's using the contrarian logic of retail sentiment. So they're long euro and they're short USD. What's going to happen is going to go up in punishment. The Aussie is doing exactly what I thought it's going to do. If you remember, it was here, then it was here, and it's going over here, and it's going to join the euro, and then so that's going to mean that we might get an Aussie USD short signal. If so, we've got a lot of profit potential because we've rallied really, really ridiculous on Aussie pairs, and we can fall. Technically, we can fall. So that's that. So it's doing exactly what I thought it would do. Kiwi isn't moving as much as I thought. I thought it was going to be a little bit higher up. Remember, this is the strong sell section. This is the strong buy. And I'll admit, I'm a bit curious what's happening with the pound. That bubble is misbehaving, but we could argue it's performing poorly because the dollar is the strongest dynamically across time. So this is the time, and this is the longs and short positions. Okay, so you want to combine the two to get maximum effect. And so we want to keep an eye on the dollar bubble, the Quasidb guys. Just have a look at this once a day, and I think we'll probably end up down here on Friday, and we're going to get like a Hulk mode, and there's going to be Hulk smash, and we're probably going to go pretty risk off as well. So we want to keep an eye on the VIX, which is on the dashboard, and assuming that we remain elevated above 20, that's going to favor the dollar and the yen as well. So that's a little bit of a Quasidb spreadsheet plug, which you would recommend to join. If you want to, the information's at patreon.com/Quasidb. And let's talk about the sentiment. So we know the Euro USD monthly pivot's 117.90. We're at 117.88. We're breaking. Signal saying to sell. Sentiment saying to sell. And you saw on that graphic that I showed you that it was a sell dynamically. Dynamically is the time component. So we'll take these guys off, and you can see the MyFX book. And they went long, and they crossed the 50% line. So as you saw, so that's the sell signal. Then we came, and now we're below monthly pivot. It's actually going to look quite bad because it's technically using this concoction of different technical components. We're technically bearish. Now we're below monthly pivot, so that's like an icing on the cake with the sentiment as well. So that's that. I'll tell you about dollar yen. And so I think the SLC, it was populating it. We should get a new update soon, maybe not in the making of this video, but I think we're going to get here. And there's like a node. And this is where they're going to get stopped out. This is where I think the stop loss cluster is going to be. And it coincides, interestingly enough, here. All right, so we've got like a zone, a supply zone, which I think they could be looking at potentially for their exit. So we might struggle to get to target. We'll probably get to that because there's quite a nice confluence there. All right, so we might not get to the full target, but have a look what happens, the reaction at 110.50, because I think this is going to be the new stop loss cluster, 110.50, and they do love their round numbers as well. Now the signal is sent to buy, and the sentiment is 50-50. Okay, so we do need to be a little bit careful on the average, and we're above monthly pivot too. And I'm just going to wrap up now with Dixie, and I'm going to show you the Aussie USD Dixie chart. Okay, so even if we break pitchfork, we're going to have support from the low, right? So even if we did break 92.65, and then we broke the lower support, we'd still have horizontal support, and we've got this strong signal as well. MACD's up, the parabolic SAR is up, Williams percent range is saying bullish, moving average is all bullish. All right, so if you use this conjunction of the bubbles, we know that the dollar is strong buy, going to be strong buy, dynamically is strong. It does need to come down a little bit on the bubbles, and then that cements the deal. Okay, so that's a little bit of a technical look for this. You've got resistance here at 92.81 and some resistance there too at 92.85. I won't be able to show you any time frame higher than hourly, which is frustrating, but I just haven't got the historical data. But it's looking pretty good, sentimentally and technically. And I just want to tell you about AU, because what's happened is that they've moved their stops a lot lower. Right, oops. Right, so that's their exit, and it's quite far. Right, it's actually 75 pips away, and I think this is going to be horrendously painful for these guys. And when we're going to get close to the stop loss cluster, what you'll see is that they'll move them. They'll move their stops because they won't want to get stopped out. And what happens is that they're making it worse for themselves, because if they do that, they don't realize that everyone else is doing it as well. They think they're an isolated case, but they're actually forming a herd mentality. And so that size is possibly going to get larger, and it will get lower. And the lower it will get and the larger it will become, the more attractive it will be. You've got a descending trend line, and the sentiment, the signal is flashing sell just very briefly. All right, so I think that's going to happen. Monthly pivot is going to be a test at 72.82, and we're still quite far from that. So we could come down to MP, and these guys are going to get scared, and then they'll move their stops, right? So if you wanted to get visibility of the order book and where you can project where your target's going to be based on the retail herd exits, then you can just go to fxssi.com, and you can do the monthly plan or the annual plan. You get 50% discount, and then you can add the Quasidb code, and it gives you a huge saving. It would have cost you $359, and with the code and the saving, it's $121. So if you're serious about trading, you do want to get an eagle-eye view of the market, and you especially need to see where the liquidity areas are. If you use them in conjunction with technical, you're really onto a winner. This the key to success is risk management, and you do want to know your correct size to your account, and you definitely don't want to overtrade as well. And I saw something on Twitter how trading was like being a sniper, where you simply wait and wait and wait for the right opportunity, and then you execute. So sometimes it's difficult because you feel compelled to trade, but they're often the bad trades when you're forced. You just simply wait for the right time. For example, you could have just kept an eye on the sentiment here, and you would have had a decent stop. We wouldn't have broke the bank or anything like that, and then you'd be onto a winner just simply by looking at the sentiment. And we knew it was above monthly pivot, so it's just a case of being patient, and the patience does pay. Admittedly, it did chop, and this is what's horrible about trading. So if you do find it stressful, you could do what I do and just take a little break, have a walk, and because you know where you're going to exit, then it's not really a problem. And if you move your stop ahead at entry, it's a win-win scenario, and we should get to the target. But do remember maybe 110.50, because I think that could be the destination, and we might struggle above it, but we'll have to wait and see. So do let me know if you need any charts. I'm around all day anyway. Just be watching the Euro USD and dollar yen because I'm actively trading both. And so yeah, just let me know if you need any charts or any analysis. And if you see anything on Twitter or anything like that, then you can share it on the chat. I won't mind because I need some more macro fundamental stuff on there anyway. So hopefully the video is helpful. Don't forget about the FX SSI code. Highly recommend, and have a good week, and I'll speak to you soon. And remember what I said about the over trading as well and your risk management. Assuming that you get everything combined, then you'll do okay. It's the most difficult thing is the risk management. Once you've mastered that, then you'll succeed. So have a good one, and I'll speak to you soon.